Welcome back to Two Birds, One Stone, an Arizona Cardinals podcast. Today is Wednesday, December 28th, 2021. And the Arizona Cardinals, they're going to the playoffs for the first time since 2015. Can we get a clap it up for that?
Woohoo! Yeah. All right. Good.
6 years. That's a long time.
Yeah, it sure is.
It's being overlooked. We're going to start off positive. It's being overlooked because of the Cardinals' recent struggles. They have lost 3 straight, coming off of the Christmas Day loss to the Colts. But big picture, this is a big step forward. They're going to be playing in the postseason for the first time, like I said, 6 years, back to the Carson Palmer, Bruce Arians days. It feels good. It's hard to take a step back and soak it in until we get to the playoffs and we're playing in that game because of how the team is playing right now. But I don't know if
I still think it feels good at all. I don't really. But I don't. It's kind of hard to pull a positive. I don't know. It's just.
If you notice me kind of trailing off there, is because my excitement went away quickly. Because when you think about, well, I guess we'll talk about the Colts on a game on Saturday now. Like the way we talked about last week, where there really wasn't much energy and there wasn't a whole lot of behind it, and a playoff clinching opportunity at that time. It was the same thing against the Rams, the Lions, and then in the Colts on Christmas Day. Nonetheless, it should be the most hyped game of the year. There's nobody that isn't watching that game. And
I'm going to disagree with that a bit because at the beginning of the game, I felt like there was a little bit more attitude and a little bit more swagger, mostly from the defense. Only from the defense than we've seen the past couple games. It kind of felt like there was a little bit of after a big play or a big tackle or a tackle for loss, there was more of a umph and a juice that hasn't been there in the past couple games. But the offense, there was nothing improved.
I mean, it's only standing out in my head probably because I don't know why. It was the very first drive of the game, and you said the defense kind of set the tone, but the offense they got the ball first. And the offense, the very first drive was a pretty good drive. They ran the ball. They were moving down the field. They get to I want to say did they get a field goal on that drive? It's been since Wednesday. We got to start recording right after, but schedules and shit. I believe they were at 3rd and 3 on the Colts 40. And Kyler drops a dime along the sideline deep to the right of the field to Christian Kirk. And it goes right through his hands. It was an over-the-shoulder ball. It's not an easy catch, but it was the only place Kyler could have put it for it to be a completion. And Kirk didn't come up with it. And that right off the gate put such a bad feeling in my stomach. It's like, shit.
Yeah.
Those are the plays that you have to make. And I know it was the very first drive, but it was crap. And nothing from there. There was at times where Kyler had the big run on the second drive. And there were plays that were made. He hit AJ Green on a deep ball, the only catch he had all game. I think it was for 33 yards on a 3rd down. A beautiful throw there. The Antoine Wesley throw and catch touchdown that gave them the lead, 13-12. It was just not enough. There were sparks and flashes of what we saw earlier in the season, but it wasn't a consistent enough 60-minute performance that they needed. I believe when they went up 13-12, the Colts, I believe they didn't score and we got the ball back and we went 3 and out. That was the drive that Kyler misses AJ on an out route. And it was just a bad throw. It was short.
Yeah. I think I kind of saw a stat, quote me or correct me if this isn't right, but the Cardinals have not played a quarter of football with a lead throughout this 3-game stretch. They haven't had a single lead at any point in the game throughout this 3-game losing streak. That's just terrible. That's absolutely terrible. Like you kind of said, there was just it felt like whatever a play needed to be made, it just never really was. Excluding Kyler's big run, everything just seems so off, and I think that. Obviously, James Conner wasn't in the game, as we all know, but I think that not having D-Hop is kind of starting to weigh a lot more than what we thought. I feel like that D-Hop and Kyler's chemistry was just so good that he was, whenever you needed that play or needed kind of a jolt of energy into the offense, he kind of provided that a lot more. And I feel like we kind of took that part of his game for granted a little bit.
And there's like some guys stepped up, like at least when you're looking at the stat sheet, Zach Ertz had 8 catches for 54 yards. Not a lot of average, but like eight grabs. Chase Edmonds coming out of the backfield, 8 catches, 71 yards. We kind of know that that's like his MO. It's good to have him back. Like, you don't have to rely on James Conner. As good as James Conner has been kind of filling in that role, Chase Edmonds, that's why.
And I thought if you could pull a bright spot from this game, I thought that he was that. I thought that he looked refreshed. He does stuff that James Conner just can't do, and he's just so much more like explosive the way he runs. You can definitely tell the difference between the backs is how James Conner's more of a goal line back 2-yard situation, get 2 yards, and Edmonds he's just so much more shifty. And
the numbers, the team had 21 carries for 133 yards, 6 yards a carry. Of course, Kyler had that long 57-yard run. Edmonds had 56 yards. When like the numbers don't show it really there, like it's okay, Edmonds got 16 carries, but JoJo Ward, the other running back who was activated for game day with Connor being out, had 1 carry, and Kyler carried it 4 times. It felt like they had success putting the ball on the ground with Connor or with Chase, and they just didn't stick to it. And there was really at no point in this game where the Colts were way out in front and you weren't in a situation to where you could run the ball and you were trying to throw whatever down to keep pace. Like, it was a close game throughout. You could stick to your game plan like you did on the first drive that I talked about, methodically move the ball. I've seen it a lot on Twitter. It's relying on the big play too much. Like, Kliff is just itching for that big shot. And some of them I disagree with. Like, a lot of people were unhappy with throwing that deep ball to Kirk on 3rd and short or on some of those situations. If the play was there, the throw was there, everything was there, you can't fault them for like, oh, you shouldn't have called that. It was perfect. It was a perfect play call. Everybody executed besides Kirk. And Kirk did execute to get open and get in the spot. They didn't follow through. He didn't make the catch.
Yeah. I think kind of what it boils down to is I feel like Kliff's he's had success early on this year, obviously with 7-0 start. I just kind of think he needs to go back to basics. I feel like he's trying to get too cutesy with it, which I agree with what you just said about take shots at the right times. It's there. It could have worked. A play just wasn't made. But get back to your meat and potatoes. Run the ball 30 times a game, 35 times a game, especially in a game like this where you could have. And I don't know. I just feel like he's almost trying to do too much. And I think me and you kind of disagree on how long Kliff's leash is going to be, or how much patience is going to be with him. And I think a lot of Cardinals Twitter kind of disagrees with how long that they'll let this kind of show keep on running with him at the helm. All I'm saying is if it's a first round bounce, then if he gets bounced in the first round, I think he'll come back. I'm not saying that they're going to fire him. I think he'll come back. I think a lot of it will depend on how he gets bounced. If they get, torched 42-0 in the first round of the playoffs, there's going to be a lot of talking going around, not only in the fan base, but also in the organization, I would think, because you have this great team, this great start. You have all the pieces you need, but it just seems like the one thing that isn't clicking is the coaching and the calls, and the flow of the game has just been so fucked for these past 3 games that it just seems like no one's ever able to get into a flow. I don't think he's going to be done after the end of this year. This is all hypothetical. If for some reason we were to lose out, God forbid, or if for some reason we were to get bounced in the first round of the playoffs, I don't think he'll be done after this year. But I think that going into next year, if we don't get off to a hot start like we did this year, then you could really see his seat starting to warm up a bit.
Like Kliff's leash is if they lose 3,
you can say it's as long as it can be, but he hasn't done anything.
Can I finish? Sure. Can I finish? Thank you. Let's say they lose 3 straight. Okay, whatever. And they go 11-6 in the regular season, and lose going to Tampa against the Bucks. And let's say it's not even close. It's 35-10. Wow, what a fucking collapse. The Cardinals had all this whatever going and they just shit the bed and they didn't capitalize and finish strong. Okay. Kliff is not getting fired. They've made, like I said, going to the playoffs for the first time in 6 years. He's going to go into next year. If they go 8-9 next year, if they go 7-10 next year, Kliff is gone. That's the way that's what's going to happen. If it's a similar thing where they're fighting for a playoff, and even if they lose 3 straight to next year and they still finish 11-6, 10-7 and get in the playoffs, you're not firing a coach that goes to the playoffs back-to-back years. That's just not how the NFL works. And I get we're in the moment and everything seems so terrible right now, but you have to give a guy a little more time than that. And there has been the progress. Like I said, if next year they come out and they go 500 or a little under and they don't make the playoffs, he will be gone because you can't regress that much after this year. Progress, and then a step back, he's going to be gone.
I don't think that the progress has been coming with Kliff Kingsbury. I think the progress has been Kyler Murray becoming a lot better quarterback. I don't think from year 1 Kliff to year 3 Kliff, I mean, there's nothing that really that jumps out to me besides the fact that he has a shitload better players. His roster's a lot better than whenever he first got it.
He's in the room with Kyler every day. Is he not attributed to any of his success?
I'm not saying he hasn't, but I'm saying most of that falls on Kyler Murray's quarterback play. But I don't know. I don't know. We can move on from this because we don't really agree with it.
I'm not disagreeing with you completely. I think that his seat, if they struggle next year and they're not a playoff team next year, if they go to the playoffs this year with this collapse and they struggle next year and don't become a playoff team again, he's not going to be the head coach anymore. And I think that would be warranted. I don't think it's warranted to let him go if they make the playoffs again next year, but they don't go 15-2 or something.
A big part of why I think that if it's not a deep playoff run next year, that he'll be gone is because of the fact that he made moves. He signed JJ Watt. He signed AJ Green. You kind of got the feeling that he went almost all in. And if you're not getting, and if you're there,
that's another.
I understand. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's true.
Like if I were to tell you the Cardinals started 7-0 and they were 10-2 or whatever, and then JJ Watt gets hurt and Hopkins gets hurt, and then I said that they lost 3 straight, I'd be I mean, obviously you're watching these games and they shouldn't be, but as a hypothetical, there's pieces that aren't there. But as fans that were watching right now, the Colts and the Rams games, those were very winnable football games. And the Lions being the outlier, that's just inexcusable. You can't have that happen. That I'm not making an excuse for that. Those are 2 winnable football games. And if I told you JJ Watt wasn't there, Hopkins did play in the Rams game, but not having Hopkins and and Watt, that is a difference maker. And fingers fucking crossed. JJ Watt's maybe back. We have no idea. What I would love to see is him dress out in Seattle, get a little the rust knocked off, and just give it a go. And if he can't play in Tampa, or I say Tampa because that seems to be the most likely spot right now if we do not win the division. But if we go on the road or whatever, that way we don't just throw him out in a playoff game and just see what happens. Let's get things kind of flowing. But I'm speaking out of my ass because nobody knows what the hell's going on with JJ Watt. And that's kind of frustrating. But that's been kind of the MO of the Cardinals since the preseason. Remember the minor thing, Kliff, when he was talking about injuries? Cardinals have been kept out of the dark pretty much from the get-go, going from Kyler to the first Diop injury. We have no idea what's going on. But JJ Watt would be such a fucking boost. I don't know. And on top of that, Rodney Hudson. The Cardinals, when Kyler Murray and Rodney Hudson are playing on the same field, are 8-2. I mean, you say whatever you want about the other game, but those are the facts. So let's get healthy. Rodney is coming back from the COVID list for the game against the Cowboys. So who knows? Maybe they'll be 9-2. But we'll get back on track with the Colts game. You said the defense had a little energy. They really did. Buda Baker had his best game of the season on Saturday. He's blitzing. He's coming off the edge. He's tackling Jonathan Taylor in the backfield. He's sacking Wentz, getting pressure. it was awesome to see him flying around again. We got to see more of that. We got to see more aggression, especially with it when you're playing a quarterback like Wentz there. Put some pressure in his face and make him push the ball downfield. And to his credit, I mean, he played a pretty decent game. 18 of 28, 225 yards, 2 touchdowns, no turnovers. I mean, it was a clean game. And Jonathan Taylor, despite if you take away that first run of play of the game, he had like a 43-yard rush. They held him in check for basically the rest of the game. Like totally had 27 carries for 108 yards. I'm not very good at math, and I'm not even going to try and do that. But after that, it was like 2 yards a carry. Like, so the rush defense really did do its job. The offense,
which I think we all kind of expected it to, because they had, I mean, basically dead men walking on their offensive line.
Right.
I kind of wanted to see a little bit more pressure on Wentz, which I know we had. I think Chandler Jones had a sack or 2 in the game.
I don't know. I don't know.
I believe I think Zach Allen might have had a sack. But I kind of expected a little bit more pressure to Wentz. But I was, I guess, pleased with Jonathan Taylor's production. Yeah, like I said, I would like to see a little bit more pressure on Wentz, but you can't sit here and be upset about holding Jonathan Taylor to 120 whatever yards. 108 yards if you're taking away
on the first carry. So yeah, I mean, yeah, like you said earlier, it was just the defense really did come to play despite the Colts injuries. Again, the another problem I have with the defense is the secondary. I don't think that they played very well. There was some terrible calls, dude.
There was. No, I agree. I just the secondary's been really, really disappointing for the past couple weeks. And as I say, I'm a secondary specialist.
Right.
Myself. Byron's not playing near as well as he was to start. Jalen Thompson, even though he won our award, however many weeks ago that was, he led up a bad touchdown.
Remember when we got to do Two Birds, One Stone Player of the Week? when we won football games? It's been so long since we've got to do that. Yeah, I'm gonna sound like every other fan. Oh, fuck it. But like, it was at the end, I believe the end of the first. I don't know. I'm not gonna put a time on it. Chandler Jones finally does get to Wentz, forces a strip sack. Cardinals recover. And then there's just this phantom fucking illegal contact on Byron Murphy. The replay shows, if anything, it would have been like a hold, but it wasn't a hold because he wasn't holding. He's just riding T.Y. Hilton. The ball, it's not even where Wentz is looking. It's kind of late in the play. It's like, okay, so the Colts, they get to keep the ball and they go score. And then the Colts are driving again. They're at like R40, and then it's a 3rd down, and they throw left to Marco Wilson, who plays the ball tremendously. He gets his head turned around, looks, he almost picks it off, and then they throw a pass interference where it wasn't even all the things were check mark. He got his head turned around. He wasn't grasping a jersey. There was nothing that said that it was pass interference. The defender has a right to the football, and he turned around and tried to make a play, and then they throw a pass interference, automatic 1st down, plus he injures his shoulder on the play. He was out, and I believe he will be out against the Cowboys. So that's not good for the secondary either.
Go ahead.
The Cardinals did sign Rashad Breeland, former Minnesota Viking corner. He's like 29. He's an athletic freak. He was cut by the Vikings due to fighting with coaches and teammates and allowing, I think, like 120 pass rating against. But he did have 2 picks and 5 passes defense. So
good.
Who knows? I would say he was a plug and play sign because of our situation this week against Dallas. But as soon as he landed and he signed, he tested positive for COVID. So he's not even going to play.
Good.
So we're not looking good there. And the
long term, I'm not worried about the secondary. I still think Byron Murphy is going to be a top 3, top 5 corner in the NFL whenever he gets to his peak, and I think Marco is going to be able to be a solid starter. And I still have faith in Jalen Thompson as well. But short term, no, it's not going to be good. I don't think it's going to be good. Nope. I don't know. I said it's not going to be good. That's the weak link that's everyone talked about at the beginning of the season's finally showing. It hasn't really showed a whole bunch this year up until these past couple games, losing streak wise.
It's
To
the
be
injuries. Like,
also, another point to be fair is our defensive line's been pretty dog shit as well. Right. So that the best friend to a secondary is a defensive line. So a good defensive line. So it could not all be so bad, but who knows?
Yeah. So talking about the matchup, we will be in Dallas on Sunday, the house that Kyler built, undefeated in that building, won many, I guess, 3 state championships there in high school at Allen, Texas. Going to play the Cowboys. Last year, we went to Dallas and beat them. I think it was like 38-10 on Monday Night Football with Andy Dalton, and they were banged up. But that game, remember how good that game felt?
That was I think we moved to awesome.
5-2. And I was
like,
oh,
that was
rolling.
So sweet. Yep.
That's what happened last year, and we'll turn it around. But anyway, to Dallas, Dak and the boys dominated the Washington football team last week. I think it was 56-12 on Sunday Night Football, something like that. I didn't watch that game after like the first few drives because it was ugly. And it wasn't a close game. It wasn't ugly if you're a Cowboys fan. But we talked about last week how the slide was coming and you lose to the Rams and you lose to the Lions. It's like, okay, if you snap out of it, you're playing these national televised games back-to-back weeks. You had a chance to really flip the script, flip the narrative. Strike one. You missed it against the Colts. Okay. Next week, you're going to Dallas, a division leader, a team that a lot of people think can represent the NFC in a Super Bowl, up there with the Bucs and the Packers. Here's another chance. It's not.
I believe that this is. Bowl, I believe that this is the game. I feel that this would prove more than when it gets to Colts. Also, because you said like obviously they're the NFC favorite or whatever. But I didn't really voice this a lot last week because I didn't want to look beyond the Colts too much. But I kind of felt from after we lost to the Lions that this was the game that if we could win this game on Monday night in prime time, or is it Monday night?
Sunday afternoon, Joe Buck, Troy Aikman, all them guys
psych.
on the call. So it's game of the week. It will be the game that all Fox will be showing at 3 o'clock.
Okay, so I thought that if we could win this game, then it could kind of diminish. It could. I feel like what the Cardinals need is just a shot, just a real quick shot of vodka, just boom. And I feel like beating the Cowboys could be a quick shot of vodka to perk them back up going into the playoffs and get some confidence built up. And I'm sure if you're a player on the goddamn Cardinals, you just lost to the Colts, to the Lions, to the
Rams,
to the Rams. I'm sure you're down in the dumps. A win against the Dallas Cowboys, America's team, on a Sunday afternoon, could really do wonders. I feel more than just another notch under the W on the stat sheet.
Right. I mean, and besides that, like obviously it's a big morale boost. Like to really just fuel positivity heading into the last week of the season and into the playoffs. Where it's not, you're going to play that first round. That first round bye is gone. Your division hopes aren't completely dead. Besides that morale boost, like I said, the division is still there. Like the Rams play in Baltimore, and then they play the Niners, who they got blown out by earlier in the season. So those are their last 2 games. If we split, let's say the easy way. If the Rams, we have the head-to-head record, we have the better division record. So let's say if we lose to the Cowboys and beat the Seahawks, end up 11-6, and the Rams lose the next 2 games and they're 11-6, we win the division. So like it's not like we're completely lost.
Well, what happens if we were to beat the Cowboys, lose to the Seahawks, and the Rams were to lose to the Ravens and beat the Niners? Because then they would gain a game in the division. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, they'd win.
That's kind of what I thought.
If we finish with the same record and beat the Seahawks along the way, then we will have the tiebreaker no matter what, because we would finish 5-1 in the division or whatever. But I'm just saying there's still a chance. They got the Ravens and the 49ers. The Ravens are desperate as hell. They have to have a win if they look to be in the playoffs. And the Niners will also be fighting for a playoff spot. The Cowboys here coming off of a huge win, maybe a letdown, maybe fingers crossed. I don't know, probably not. And then we'll have the Seahawks, who are also just going to try and play spoiler and who would love nothing more than to crush the Cardinals and really knock them down a peg before they head into postseason play. So it's an interesting situation. It's all right there. We're not dead in the division. Like you said, there is this chance right here for a real big, like, shot in the ass to beat a good, like, real contending for a Super Bowl team to get that mojo back to where it was at the beginning of the season, heading into playoffs. So, like, in terms of like the actual matchup, like we said earlier, the secondary being depleted in a game like this where the Cowboys
not favorable.
Not good. Amari Cooper, CD Lamb, Blake Schultz, and all these Michael Gallup, and they've got so many pass catchers over there.
It's not favorable
to see. No, not at all. But we've seen crazier things before. Like I said, I just want to see them play like competitively. Like, I know the Colts game was close, but it just never felt like we were like.
I've just been kind of waiting for Kyler to get like pissed off and just say, "Fuck this! I'm just gonna win it." But
yeah.
I think we talked about that last week, or was that a different conversation off air than you talked about?
I don't know, but
about Kyler having a switch. No, that was Christmas Eve, drunk around a fire. I mean, you were screwing at each other about the Cardinals.
Yeah, that was fun. Garrett was all for you guys. We were at my parents' house, chilling around a fire. We had been, drinking some alcoholic eggnog or what have you, and Garrett got into his feels about Fire Kliff, and I was like, hold your horses, blah, blah, blah. And I wish we would have recorded that and released the episode there. Dad got in on it. We had a good time.
And then I went after our sweet Prince Kyler Murray. And fuck it. We'll talk about what happened. Well, so basically the point I was trying to make was Kyler's body language sucks ass. And for Kyler to be
on Saturday, you see the clips? He was fist bumping linemen all game. He was clapping, let's go. He was there. He was energetic. He wasn't just fucking pouting.
Well, then he probably read my
same thing. I think he does.
He probably read my DM.
I think
he probably read my DM.
That's probably true. I think the camera's always just panned to him when he's already done his talking. He's just chilling on the bench, like, and he looks pissed off or whatever. That's just, you're not paying attention to everything else that he's doing. I don't care. Kyler is Kyler. And he might not be the most conventional leader that's out there. And I've been so annoyed by everybody talking about body language and bullshit on Twitter. He's his own fucking person. Everybody's different. He's going to go out there and lead and be the guy for his teams the way he wants to do it. I don't think he gives a fuck what any of us are saying about his body language, whether it's me and you or whether it's Carson Palmer. I don't think he really cares. He's going to go out and be himself. And I'll take that because he's fucking, like I said to you, a top 3 talent in the NFL at that position. Like, there is not really much. You could say other guys are better quarterbacks. There's maybe Mahomes and Josh Allen that are physically as gifted as Kyler Murray is in the NFL. And he's a young fella. Okay. Colin Cowherd says this all the time. He started one full season in Oklahoma. Like, he had to sit there and wait at Texas Tech or at Texas A&M, sat there and waited at Oklahoma behind Baker. And he finally got a shot, one full season as a starter. And now he's had 2 years in the NFL. He's only had 3 seasons as like a high level competitive quarterback. He's only going to get better in the maturity and the leadership aspects. So I'm going to be patient as hell when it comes to that shit. When you see his pure athleticism and ability already right in front of you. So that's all I have to say about that.
So just imagine that spiel. Today. Imagine that spiel, but just about 25 minutes longer with a lot more cuss words.
To him, I said, God, he's athletic as heck. And
Trent's in love with Kyler.
That's my boy right there.
I love him too. I just want him to. I love him too. I just want the best out of him.
God damn, guys. You remember John Skelton? Remember that? No, I choose not to. So keep that in mind next time you want to bitch about Kyler Murray. Let's think about Kevin Kolb and Derek Anderson and fucking Max Hall. Okay, good. Anyway, let's go around the league. It was kind of a long, weird week with Christmas games and shit like that. Thursday Night Football, Niners at Titans. Niners lose to the Titans 20-17. Close, good game. Deebo Samuel had a good game. Titans, that was their good win. That was a very good win for the Titans. They were on a skid. They've got a hot Niners team coming in, like I said earlier, battling for a playoff spot. And they step back up, put their foot down, and win a game at home on prime time. I guess is Henry going to be back or not?
There's been murmurs among the Titans fan base that Henry's coming back. I'm just going to put this out there. I don't think he is. I don't think he's going to come back. I think this has all been false hope this whole time. There's no facts or knowledge or basis to this. This is all just feelings. Yeah, I don't feel he's coming back. I don't. And if he does come back, you have to keep in mind he got hurt week like 10 or 12 or something like that.
Something like that, 8, 9, 10.
Either way, there's an argument to be made that he's going to have fresh legs. He'll be fresh, but there's also an argument to be made that he hasn't played an NFL game for this long. And if you're hoping for him to come back in the first round of the playoffs, which is the hope, he's not going to be back in the regular season. You're hoping for him to come back in the first round. You're really just going to throw a guy in who hasn't played in 8 weeks into the fire of a first round playoff game. And all right, I know we rushed him 35 times a fucking game whenever he played. We're going to do it again right off an injury and expect him to carry you to a win. I don't buy it. I don't think he's coming back. I also want to say this too. There's been a lot of talk about Derrick Henry's ranking on the yardage charts among running backs. He's still the fifth highest running back in yards in the league and hasn't played in like fucking 8 weeks. Whenever Derrick Henry got hurt, Derrick Henry had 90 more carries than the closest running back. That's like fucking 4 full fucking games worth. They ran that motherfucker to the ground. He'll be lucky to have a fucking another year, like another prime year, because they ran that motherfucker to the ground. The reason his stats are so fucking good is because they're all inflated, because he touches the ball fucking 18 times more than any other running back. He's good. He's the best running back in the league, probably. But he's the second best running back in the league. Jonathan Taylor's the best fucking running back in the league. There was like 5 guys who averaged more yards per carry. They just didn't get the fucking ball 35, 40 times a game like he did. That's all I'm gonna say. He won't be fucking back. He won't be back for the rest of the year. Good win, Titans. Still fuck you. I don't know.
I feel like I had to put the light up like they do with stand-up comedians. Like the lights up. Okay, like we got to move on to the next game. But I did read something that Henry hopes to play in the season finale, just to get some rust knocked off and head into playoffs. Like I said earlier with JJ Watt, hopefully, but that's whatever. Titans are 10-5, same as the Cardinals, and Niners are now 8-7. They drop a game. Moving on to the Browns and Packers, the first game of the Christmas doubleheader. The Browns only lost this game by 2 points, 22-24, with Baker Mayfield throwing 4 interceptions. Did not look good. He did not practice all week because he was on the COVID list. He was activated the day of the game, and he got to play. But the Packers, the last couple of weeks, they beat the Ravens by 1 with Tyler Huntley. They barely get by the Browns on Christmas Day. They look beatable. They don't look.
I feel as if they're kind of in coast mode. Like they're kind of just coasting because I feel like they're kind of just relaxing. I mean, they're still in the ball game, so it doesn't matter.
There's 12-3 Green Bay, and there's 11-4 Dallas, 11-4 Tampa, 11-4 Los Angeles. Like there's not a whole lot of breathing room. So I don't know if there's room to say that they're coasting, but I guess I understand what you mean. They're doing enough to win games, so I'll give them that. But they look beatable out there. And as a Cardinals fan, that doesn't fucking mean anything because we look very beatable as well. So that's that game. Falcons against the Lions. Falcons win 20-16. Next game, Bengals Ravens. Joe Burrow throws for over 500 yards and I believe, was it 5 touchdowns?
4.
4 touchdowns against the Ravens, who again without Lamar Jackson, also again without Tyler Huntley. They had Josh Johnson, the guy who's been on all 32 teams plus some fucking other pro league teams, made a start for the Ravens. But Joe Burrow, that's fucking crazy. I seen a stat. I got to pull it up because it's very impressive. About the Bengals, like young core. Okay.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Joe Burrow has 4,165 yards. This is all with 2 games to play. Keep in mind, Joe Mixon, 1,200 yards rushing. Jamar Chase, 1,200 yards receiving. T. Higgins, over 1,000 yards receiving. The Bengals are the first team in NFL history to have a 4,000-yard passer, 1,000-yard rusher, and 2 1,000-yard receivers, all 25 or younger in the same season. Could you imagine how that would feel? Like you're winning games already. Like they're what was it, 9-6, first place in the AFC North. You just kicked the crap out of a division rival in a late December football game, and your core is all 25 or younger, and they're not all just young. They're all fucking already producing 1,000-yard seasons. And if you're a Bengals fan, you got to be sitting very, very pretty right now.
Yeah, that's sweet.
I don't know what their schedule looks like the rest of the way. I know they play the Browns again, but I mean, if I would feel good if I'm a Bengals fan. Remember where they started out hot? I think they were 5-2. They hit a skid, and now they're getting right back on track at the right time. So good for the Bengals. I'd like to see them go far in the playoffs.
Yeah,
in the AFC side.
Me too.
I'd like to see them maybe get to the championship game. Who knows? But so yeah, Bengals 41, Ravens 21. Rams Vikings. Rams go to Minnesota and they beat the Vikings 30-23. That is the game that got us into the playoffs. Because of the Vikings loss, we clinched a playoff spot. But obviously, big picture, you would have liked to see the Vikings knock off the Rams, keep us at the same record. We'd still be in first, yada, yada, yada. But nonetheless, we did make the playoffs. Thanks, Sean McVay. I saw a lot of those. Kliff couldn't get us in the playoffs. Well, Sean McVay will do it for us. And yeah.
Funny.
Very, very funny. So Rams, let's look at their schedule here. I think did we already talk about that? They have.
Yes, I think we did.
Yeah, we did. Ravens and Niners. Okay, so we won't talk about that again. But Bills, Patriots. Bills get revenge on the Patriots. They win 33-21 in New England. Good for them. We talked about that Monday Night Football game where Mac Jones threw 3 passes and the Rams or the Patriots just kind of like physically dominated the Bills that game, and were able to kind of, it felt like at that time, like, oh shit, the Patriots are back. Bills are gonna hit a skid and go downhill, and the Patriots will win this division. The Bills, after that game, they lost to Tampa 2. They bounced back with a win last week, and then they beat the Patriots today. So now they have the same record, but I believe due to tiebreakers, Buffalo is first in that division at 9-6. So that's a big win for them. That's like they got punched in the mouth a few weeks ago. They got back up and they threw a punch back. And
yeah,
it looks like they're probably going to win that division. Mac Jones, the last couple of games, he's turning the ball over a little bit. And this week and then last week against the Colts. So we'll see how that goes. I mean, it's a rookie quarterback. Didn't expect him to play like
I still like the Patriots. I still think that they're gonna do some damage in the playoffs. They are my official AFC team.
Who wins in a third match if they meet again?
Where's it at?
Let's say the Bills win the division, so it'll be in Buffalo. We'll say that.
Buffalo in January.
That's how this so far. The Patriots won in Buffalo and the Bills won in New England.
I don't bet against Belichick in the playoffs, so I'm gonna go Patriots.
Fun hypothetical. Jets, Jags. Who cares to who cares? Giants, Eagles.
Who cares? Who cares?
Well,
no.
Giants.
No.
Eagles are probably a playoff. We're being honest. They are now 8-7. We'll see. I mean, I think they probably need some help, but they're playing good football, running the ball really well. We've talked about them before. They're a team that knows what they want to do. They run the ball. Yep. They do it well.
They know who they are.
So they win 34-10. Yeah, I mean, I don't really want to play them in the first round. Like, that's just a tough. They kind of remind me of the Colts a little bit. Mm-hmm. Quarterback, you don't really trust a whole lot, but except there's the Eagles can use his legs, and you do trust him when he has the ball in his hands on the ground. So, yeah, 34-10 over the Giants. Buccaneers take care of the Panthers on the road, 32-6. The Texans beat the Chargers 41-29. That's kind of crazy.
That is wild. Was that Davis Mills?
Mills Mafia. He was 21-27, 250
rises from the ashes,
yards, and 2 touchdowns.
I didn't get to watch any of that game. I'm just gonna kind of assume it was just a stinker. I don't know, just a
That's tough for
slide.
the Chargers. That's they're a weird team, man. They look unbeatable one week and then they do something like this.
I get proved right once again. It's the gift that keeps on giving. The
that sucks.
formerly San Diego, now Los Angeles Chargers.
Super Chargers. That sucks for Chargers fans. They're kind of in similar boat as us. You know, they felt like they had a real team, like a good team, and then now you're left questioning things. So
you're making me feel bad for saying they've sucked all year.
Yeah,
whatever.
Well, they haven't sucked all year. They've had moments. Bears beat the Seahawks in Seattle 25-24. Our first, I felt like that was the first real snow game. I felt like that's the first.
No, there was one. Oh, I think it was a Packers game. It snowed. There has been one. There's been one.
But that looked very visually pleasing.
Yeah.
That's a game that you look if you're
good for the Bears.
Game, the Bears win that game. Just the colors and the snow,
good for the Bears.
Candy ass Seahawks, weird.
Good for Nick Foles.
Yeah, Nick Foles started that game.
Yeah,
let's see how he did. 24-35, 250 yards and a touchdown. I mean, yeah, efficient. It's probably the best quarterback play they've had in a little while. So we'll see. I think Justin Fields banged up. I think it was ribs or something. So that sucks. But at this point, you just want that guy to be healthy for next year. Who knows where Nick Foles goes next year? You think he stays and backs up Fields?
They pay him too much money. Is his contract done after this year?
I couldn't tell you, but
if you're not, then he's not going fucking nowhere. No one's going to take that contract.
You're not keeping Foles and Dalton, so I don't know. You got to do something with one of those guys.
I would assume Dalton moves because no one's going to take Foles' contract, and they're not going to eat all that money just to have a backup quarterback.
Who knows? So that's that game. Steelers, Chiefs. Chiefs dominate Pittsburgh at home, 36-10. The Chiefs are back as hell. They've been back for weeks. They've now won 8 in a row, 7 in a row.
I think it's been 8.
8 in a row. They were 3-4. They're now 11-4. And what's kind of the least surprising thing of all time, everybody wanted so bad to jump on the Chiefs when they started so slow like that, overreacting left and right about Mahomes and what's wrong with him. And they go on fucking win 8 in a row. So I think the Chiefs they're now Super Bowl favorites. I think in Vegas, I think they have an 18% chance, something like that. So, I mean, it is what it is. The Chiefs are not going anywhere for fucking 10 more years, 12 more years. That's just going to be the way that it is. Get used to it, unfortunately. So that's that one. Raiders, Broncos. Raiders win 17-13. Drew Lock got a start and didn't really wow anybody. So I feel like this was kind of his chance to go out and be like, it feels like it's his last chance. And Denver to be like, I can be a starter. Bridgewater's out. He steps in. 15-22, 153 yards. No turnovers, no touchdowns.
It's not terrible.
That's not going to keep them from moving on. I think their head coach fucking hates him. We have some Broncos friends. I follow some on Twitter, and they share some quotes after a Teddy Bridgewater game where he had similar numbers, but he threw 2 picks. Vic Fangio came out and was like, I think Teddy did some really good things today. We've got some things to improve on, but we'll go back to work. And then today, Drew Lock, nothing spectacular, but no turnovers. He was something like, yeah, we've got to improve in a big way in that position group or something like that. And it's that's a weird double standard. Why do you hate this guy so much? Anyway, but
Drew Lock.
I like Drew Lock too. I'm gonna root for Drew Lock, but Raiders are 8-7. They're still alive in the playoffs. We already talked about Cowboys, Washington, Dolphins at Saints. The Saints had so many guys out with COVID. We saw other games kind of get moved, and they didn't with less guys out. Ian Book was playing in a game, rookie from Notre Dame, quarterback, was playing a game he had no business playing in. He looked like he did not belong whatsoever. He was getting hammered left and right, not getting rid of the ball quick enough, rolling out and taking 12-yard sacks when he could easily just throw the ball away. It looked ugly, but Dolphins have now won, I think, 7 in a row. They were 1-7, and then now they're 1-7.
Fins are hot. So the Fins are hot.
like you hate the Titans and the Chargers, and I don't like the Titans, but I hate the Dolphins. Like I can't stand their fans like whatsoever. I hate Tua. Like he's we've talked about that. We talked about it before. I don't know if it's the lefty thing. I don't know if it's like when like he was at Alabama and Kyle was at Oklahoma, and there was just like Tua's way better, blah blah. I don't like him. I don't and the uniforms are gross to me. The whole Miami Dolphins situation I dislike. That's just
my rebuttal. I like their coach. Their uniforms are kind of candy ass, but
their throwbacks are fucking sick.
Tua makes them look cool.
I disagree.
Tua's lefty, which kind of turns me off, but not completely off. I like Tua. I think he seems like he's just nice and he's handsome and he's just kind of cool. He just seemed like a cool guy to just hang out with. I don't know.
There's nothing that makes you think he's fucking.
Listen, I'm going to be completely honest. The turning point for the Dolphins was whenever Jalen Waddle did the waddle for his touchdown after his celebration. After that, I was like, okay, that's fucking cool. That's fucking cool. I like the Dolphins. That's fucking cool.
Yeah. Jalen Waddle's a fucking stud. Jalen Waddle,
he's really good.
He's going to probably break former Cardinal Anquan Bolden's rookie receptions record, which is at 101, I believe. And Jalen Waddle is sitting at 93 with 2 games to go. And you could say, oh, he had the extra game, but Waddle also missed a week due to COVID. So like kind of evens out. Very impressive. Out of those like rookie receivers, I didn't really expect him to be the one to like take off, but good for him. They use him in so many cool different ways.
I like the Dolphins. I kind of like the Dolphins.
Kliff, do that with Rondale. Let's have him catch a ball 5 yards downfield. That would be cool. We didn't get to see any of Rondale last week. He was out with COVID, but let's see him catch like a 10-yard out route, against Cowboys. Wouldn't that be fucking crazy?
That would be too crazy.
Rondale Moore caught a slant.
You're on drugs.
We'll see what happens. But that's around the league. I don't even know how long that was. I kind of wanted to keep it short because I am sad and the Cardinals are falling off a cliff. But I'm glad we started like the first part of it with like, yeah, we're in the playoffs. That's good.
I kind of hate that.
I can't wait.
That's pussy shit.
I had to. We had to at least talk about the playoffs. It's cool. We haven't been there in a while. I can't wait. Next episode, we're gonna come in fucking firing. We're gonna come in. Oh, we just crushed.
Fuck the boys. We them boys, bitch. We them boys. That's what I'm gonna. Hey, that's what I'm gonna say.
They're gonna make.
I'm gonna say that.
Yeah, they're going to make that, every time the Cowboys lose, that NFL memes page puts that thing is like still checking if you dim boys. And it's a picture of the quarterback. And Kyler is always like this.
Yeah.
We're going to get that. We're going to see that. So, All right. Nationally televised game. Don't be scared because it's not Sunday night or whatever. It's an afternoon game still, but we'll see what happens. Kyler's going home. He's going to dominate in that stadium like he always does. And the Cardinals are going to get right. All right.
Let's rock.
All right. Let's rock. Thank you guys for listening. Oh, we're on Apple Podcasts now. So I should have said this at the beginning because I'm sure many of you aren't still listening. But please go on, give us 5 stars or give us a review or give us 4 stars or 3, but don't give us any lower than that. Rate and review us. As always, check us out also on YouTube, Spotify, that kind of stuff if you want to watch these. So thank you for listening so far. It's been a fun season. I'm sure we'll do this again next year.
Yep. We're still waiting for sponsors.
Yep. Maybe get some advertisements.
Steve Jobs, get at your boy. I'll take an iPhone. Who else?
I'll take a
Beats
Tesla
headphones.
from Elon.
Beats headphones. Hey,
Right.
I've been wearing these bitches all season.
Yo, Dre, I got something to say. Go Birds. See you guys.
Peace.